format.
Here we go. Recording live with Juan Carlos on Prudential Productions. And we have some excellent information for you people watching here tonight. Juan Carlos is on shift and he is going to tell us what tips there are going to be for new security officers coming on board in the field of security. Let's guard it, baby. Rock and roll. Let's go, Juan Carlos. Tips, baby.
Well, hey, first of all, how you doing, man? How are you doing tonight? I guess how are we doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. You know, I'm awake and feeling actually energized to hear what you're gonna just give to people that are wondering about the security field, wondering about the security industry. I'm feeling very good about just how beautifully Mexican you look.
Hey, okay, please don't take offense to that, all my Mexicans out there. I'm actually Puerto Rican, but just messing with you. So yeah, well, first of all, you may notice the time, or I don't know what time you're watching this, but currently it's 4:19 a.m. So coming in to being a security guard, you can expect to work whatever hour of the day or night. So coming into the field, be open-minded. Just don't expect to get the shift that you want. That's not something that you can request for it. If you don't want it, then don't work it. If you don't want to be a security guard, don't be a security guard. But really, it's that's one of the things.
That's good.
You can be on duty at any time.
So basically,
24 hours.
Yeah. Coming into it, don't expect to be on a shift that you desire, because more than likely, it's rare, I think, for you to be, on the shift that you're hoping to be on. It's good to come in, like you said, with an open mind to that, because if you come in with high expectations to be on the shift that you're going to be on, well, then you're going to run into some conflict there.
Yeah, you are. The other thing, well, I'm gonna mention the name of the company that I came through or that hired me, but usually the process is it's not that difficult. I am what do you consider? What are we, Nathan? What type of security guard? Commission? We're non-commission level 2 security guard.
Right. We're just we're level 2 security officers.
Yeah. So I'm not carrying a weapon.
We're non-commissioned. We're non-commissioned security officers.
Yeah, we are not carrying weapons. They're a really simple process. So if you're currently unemployed and just need something, it's an easy. Well, I don't want to say super easy, but easy. It's just a bunch of common sense. That's probably most jobs. A lot of common sense within, on what you do. There's a lot of situations that, when you, just like any job, when you first come in, you need to learn. But once you get it, it's the same everywhere. It's pretty similar. Every building, it's designed like the same. It has the same security and safety features. I would say they all have a fire control room. They all have a pump system, like an emergency pump system, like for in case of a fire. They all have someone you can reach out to in case of an emergency. So that's something that just pretty much the same all around, I think. Would you agree with that, Nathan?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, dude, it's really weird hearing my audio. I hope the audio comes out good for this. But yeah, no, I agree with everything that you're saying. I think that's really good because yeah, walking into any of these high-rise buildings, especially if they're double A buildings, you're going to be looking at exactly what Juan Carlos is saying, and those are high priority parts of the building. You're going to look at your fire control panels. I mean, yeah, your fire control panels. That's the first place you're going to want to go to in the event of any major activity, whether it be power outages or a potential a sprinkler system. Fire sprinkler system leak. It ranges from several different things. You got your smoke detectors, you got your strobes, you got your speakers. So, I mean, that's really the place you want to go to. And plus, it'll be the place where you can identify where any potential problem is coming from is there. So that will be your first. And of course, you got you want to make sure that your, what you call it, the gas, is that right? The gas in your generator, the generator for the buildings, stuff like that. You're going to want to make sure that you just know these locations. Of course, like Juan Carlos already said, your water pump stations, your HVAC systems, your sump pump stations, those are all high priority sites or parts of the site. So, yeah.
Anytime you work in a new property, that's just the first thing you want to know where it is. You want to know how to get there, and just in case of an emergency, you can take the fire department there. That's where they're gonna go. They're gonna ask you, where is this? Just take them there.
Yeah.
You mentioned the high rise, double A or whatever, the high. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there are different types of security work. That's not the only position, I guess. You're not. Can I put this like? You're not always going to be in a building. There's there are different sites. There are different things that you do.
Yeah,
so,
fire watches.
Fire watches, yeah. You can work just at a parking lot, just driving around, and you really don't have to watch out for any of that. Your job is basically just report, the activity in the parking lot. Give tickets, charge at the whatever entry, or record who comes in and out, whatever they ask. You can just be in a parking lot, just doing out in the heat all day, just doing that. I do recommend to just work inside a building. Usually working in a Class A building, it pays a little better, and you're working. This is Texas. You're working in the AC, not out in the heat. I've done special events like recording commercials. So I've done that. You're just there to keep people out. Not, when there's someone's recording a film or some kind of commercial, and they hire security just to keep people out. They don't want anyone coming in there while someone is shooting something. The good thing about that, there's free food. So when the actors you're right there. They give you food, they feed you, they take care of you. So that's I don't have much experience doing that. I know I've worked that side of the security of security, but most of the time I've been inside a building. And I guess our daily or nightly activities here. I guess we can jump into that. Really, it's to me, it's basically just, I guess, patrol and report. Right.
Yeah. No, you're spot on, man. That's really all we're doing. I mean, I guess let me ask you this one, Carlos. At any time, do we ever act as though that we're a police officer when you have homeless that are on site, or just people littering, or somebody, or there's a potential theft in progress or something like that, or robbery in progress. Is there at any time that we ever enforce the law or detain a person as though we are police officers?
So no, we are just security. No, we don't get paid to do that. We don't do that. We just, I mean, I've had encounters with homeless that come into the building. I had a guy that came into one of the buildings and just laid down on the ground right next to the toilet to sleep. They called me. I went in there. Like, hey, I talked to him. Like, hey, man, you can't sleep here. He just nodded his head, got up, and left. I'm not allowed to detain. I can't. I'm not carrying weapons, so I'm not gonna, apply any force or whatever. Of course, if they attack you, you're gonna defend yourself. You're allowed to do that.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, that's good stuff. I really like that. I think that the only thing that I can, I guess, relate to in that is I've also had encounters with homeless as well. So far, um, they haven't been aggressive with me. Thankfully, they've all been pretty just cooperative. Anytime, but I will say this: I have had the experience of there being a robbery in progress, where the client, of course, and so that's the other thing I think. Or I'll ask you that, Juan Carlos, as far as just tips about the clients. But the client had contacted me about a robbery that was in progress, and of course, immediately going over. Now, the site that I was working at have two separate buildings, and so I had to go from one building to the other building in order to get to that site, and just be there for that robbery in progress. But it wasn't to enforce, or detain or anything like that. It was, like you said, was to contact the police, which is what was already done by the client, which we did wait for the suspects to uh, reach the lobby, because we had information through tenants that had already had um, identified, or just profiled these suspects, and so we knew who we were looking for. And then at the time that they did reach the lobby, the client was already just communicating to them to try to just bypass time in order for the police officers to show up. And my job was just to discreetly monitor their activity, while at the same time make sure I get the license plate of their vehicle. And I did all of those things. Now, what was it wasn't alarming for me at the time. I wasn't really thinking about it, but as I was monitoring their activity and it was waiting on the police officers to show up, they did go to their vehicle, and I followed as though that I was doing, a patrol. But it didn't look. I mean, it didn't look as though that I was doing a patrol. It's pretty obvious that I was following them, um, so that way I could see what vehicle they were going to. Well, these two suspects approached me because they were able to see that I was that I was following, and these guys were tall. Okay, these guys were tall, and I remember standing on the curb, uh, ready to get a photo for the vehicle that they're walking to, and they approach me, and they're like, "Hey, don't be taking a photo of us. Don't be taking a photo of our vehicle. We know what you're doing." And I'm like, "Hey, man, I'm just trying to do my patrol. This is just what I'm doing here. Carry on." And both these guys, man, they look like, they just was ready if it needed to go down. And that's probably the only closest encounter to a physical altercation that I think I've come to, while being in security. But that's it. Yeah.
well, I guess you could call it a dumb security story. Man, one night at a particular site, where we currently work now, There's a property in the back that has it's like a 2-story building. And there was well, I didn't know it at the time. There was a guy had stolen a vehicle, but I didn't notice the stolen vehicle. I noticed the guy sitting shirtless, shoeless, just wearing shorts, sitting by the curb. I was doing my normal rounds, and since I noticed him first, so I approached him like, "Hey, man, are you okay?" He's like, "Hey, I just got in a fight with my girlfriend, and I'm sitting here. I had to leave the house. I left with no shirt, no shoes." So I felt bad for the guy. I believed him. So luckily I had an old sweater, and he's like, "My car ran out of gas. I just need some gas, but they won't help me since I don't have a shirt." So I had an old sweater. I gave it to him, and
That's cool.
I didn't see him after that. Later on that night, I went to the vehicle that he had been driving, and I noticed broken glass in the back. And that's when I'm like, man, this guy probably stole this vehicle. So that vehicle, the next day, I came back to work. I reported it. Next day, I came back to work. Yeah, it was a stolen vehicle.
Oh,
And I had a long conversation with the guy. He seemed pretty chill. He just calm, and he really he seemed like an okay guy. Come to find out, it was a stolen vehicle, but he stole it from his mom.
okay.
So that makes sense. Like he was an SMU graduate. She was still kind of young, but I guess his mom said that I guess he started doing drugs or whatever. And he's just so. I mean, he went to SMU. Either he was really smart, or his parents were, economically able to pay for his, education. So, but yeah, that was like I could have, called the cops, but I didn't. That was my dumb security moment. Like I should have been more alert.
Oh man, dude, I mean, actually thinking about that scenario, that would be, well, I guess I can't really I can't generalize, but I mean, just thinking of that at least from me personally, that would be, I think, difficult unless if I just carried on, a conversation but still being able to come to the idea, or at least the suspicion of, is this vehicle stolen, isn't just something that comes naturally, especially if somebody's carrying on a conversation with you and they look or sound as though that they can at least pull off some sort of excuse or lie about their situation that seems convincing.
And it looks like he was at someone's house. I feel like he wasn't lying about that.
Yeah.
And he waited for me to bring him a sweater. Like I went back to my vehicle, came back, he was still there. So it's like, okay, he could have ran, but he didn't. So.
Yeah. That's cool that you did that too. At least you saw that a person obviously was in need, and you saw a way of being able to care for that person. That's awesome. That's admirable.
Yeah. Well, obviously that experience helped me grow as a security guard, and now I'm a little more alert. And so yeah, I'm a little more not as trustworthy, I think. I mean, I don't trust people like.
Yeah.
So, especially in this field. But yeah, no. Another thing you can expect, even though every property is the same in a way, every property is different. The management of the property, whoever manages the property is gonna dictate, is gonna tell you it's gonna what to do. Basically, it changes from property to property. Some management companies just want you to sit there and greet people, and basically you're just there as just to be customer service, unless if someone needs something, you help them. Other management companies are going to ask a lot more. They want you to be an extra, I guess, set of hands, like engineer wise, take part in. They involve you more in the activities of the building. Kind of they take you in as an employee of whatever company that is, whatever management company, and sometimes they put a little more work. They give you a lot of extra work, non-security work, but it's fine. I mean, you can be the judge of that after you get some experience under you. You can see what the security job is and what it isn't. Also, if different properties are going to pay you differently, so your pay doesn't come from your from who hires you. It comes from the property where you are working, and it can range from $10.50 to $13-14 as a regular security guard. If you hit supervisor, and that that changes.
That it varies. It goes from, I think, from a security, at least from what I've heard, and it depends on the site. I mean, you could be a director of security with multiple buildings, making up to 22, if not a little bit higher than that.
Those
an hour.
Those are rare, by the way.
Very, very rare. Like that depends on how many buildings are at that site, and you just being the director of multiple officers, while at the same time, I mean, you just a strong security presence at that site. But not only that, I mean, and that's and we're talking non-commission though, with that still being at that site and getting paid that. But it's very rare. Very rare.
Commission, I'm not a commission officer, so I can't tell you.
Glenn is a commission one. We should ask him. We got to get him on.
Yeah, so I mean, you can, I guess, make that the next video. Commission.
Well, shoot, we could keep. There's so much to talk about with security. Honestly, there's so much information that we can, and just.
But yeah, I think that's. I mean, we can end it there, man. And, just just a little introduction into security, and then we can break it down next time, how to do our patrols or just tell stories about just day-to-day security life.
Yeah, I really like this because this, I think, also helps us in the event we ever do want to interview and it's someone to kind of give us that opportunity to practice. So yeah, that was good. So now
that's what we talking about. We're good. We're good, man.
Shoot, we're doing really good. I think. At least I hope. Some other people might be very critical.
Okay.
But
yeah, anything, man, you want to close with? I mean,
yeah. I just want to close with. We're closing the live session with Juan Carlos, the most professional security officer on the face of the planet. We will close right now.